Hi, I'm Claire, and this is BookTube SFF Babbles' favorite fantasy novels. Now, before I start, I just want to say real quick that I'm going to be on a live show about the Hugo Awards nominations and related topics with a whole bunch of amazing BookTube SFF people. It's being organized by Nicole over at Nicole's Adventures in SFF, and if you're watching this video on the day it comes out, then the live show is this evening, Saturday the 26th of March. It will be at 1:30 Pacific, 3:30 Central, and at 8:30 p.m. here in the UK. And there is already a video up on Nicole's channel where you can set a reminder for yourself if that's something that you want to see. Now on to favorite fantasy novels. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you'll have heard me talk about some of my favorite novels and series quite a bit. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to not be talking about Dragon Riders of Pern, Harry Potter, Song of Ice and Fire, Discworld, or the Glamorous History series by Mary Robinette Kowal, but all of these are things that I love and heartily recommend. I just thought for this video I would focus on things that I love just as much but haven't talked about nearly as much on this channel, and I don't really know why. First, I want to talk about Robin Hobb, and more specifically, I want to talk about the Life Ship Traders trilogy. This is Ship of Magic, The Mad Ship, and Ship of Destiny. I read those books when I was a teenager in France, probably 14-15 years old, and I absolutely adored them. Due to some weird quirk of French translation and publishing, I only read Assassin's Apprentice last year because I didn't realize that all of Robin Hobb's series, the Farseer trilogy, the Tourneyman trilogy, were all set in the same world of the Six Duchies. But now that I know this, I'm going to have a kind of long-term project of reading through all of Robin Hobb and rereading the Life Ship Traders, and I'm really excited about that because it is really something that was very foundational. It is all about Althea Vestrit and her family. The Vestrits are an old sailing family that live in Big Town in the Six Duchies, and they have a very special ship. The ship is made of wizard wood and it is magically linked to the Vestrit family. So once 3 different captains who were all Vestrits have died on board of the ship has absorbed enough kind of, I guess, life energy or magic or something from them, and it quickens. Althea Vestrit is supposed to inherit the ship because her father promised it to her before he passed on board the ship, and the ship quickened and woke. But Althea's brother-in-law, who is a terrible, terrible person, does not want her to have the ship because she's a lady and she has to stay at home and do lady things. So obviously she has to dress as a man and go on another ship and, you know, earn a commendation from that ship to prove that she is able to sail her own family's ship. I remember just how much I love this series, and I cannot wait to do a reread. Next is Howls Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones, and the book has kind of a similar plot to the animated feature by Miyazaki, which I saw first, and then I decided to go and read the book. So this is still about Sophie, who is a young girl who angers a spirit that then transforms her into an old woman, and she goes and lives with the wizard Howl in his moving castle, where he has a magical fire spirit who's adorable. What struck me about this book when I first read it is that it is a bit different from the Miyazaki film, but it has this like core of beautiful, beautiful magic, very understated but at the same time very organic, that is in every single one of Wynne Jones's books that I've read. My next favorite is the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson. So this is The Final Empire, The Well of Ascension, and The Hero of Ages. This is possibly the complete opposite of Wynne Jones where the magic system is concerned. This is very intricate, very complex. It's just described to you not in info-dumpy ways, but, you know, in a fairly consistent way throughout the story. This story is about Vin. When we meet her, she's a street urchin and she's really struggling, but then she runs into Kelsier, who is a Mistborn. Now, Mistborn means that you can not only do magic with certain types of metal, you can in fact do magic with every type of metal. And Mistborns are really, really rare, but we find out very soon that Vin is a Mistborn herself, and she goes into training with Kelsier, and then they take on the evil empire. It's kind of a heist story in reverse. It has a lot of different points of view, which I quite enjoy. The descriptions of the city and stuff like that really worked for me. All of this world building for me was kind of like crack, and I really, really enjoyed it. Another favorite where the world building really worked for me was the Inheritance Cycle by N.K. Jemisin. This is the 100,000 Kingdoms, the Broken Kingdoms, and there is this third book that I have not read yet. The 100,000 Kingdoms is about Yenna, who is summoned to court by the ruler, who is a distant cousin of hers, and she doesn't really know why she's being summoned until she arrives and she is told that she has been entered into the race for succession. She's now in line for the throne and has to kind of battle it out against her cousins, who are vicious, terrible people. So she is alone in the city with this kind of threat looming over her, and she has very few allies, but the allies that she does have are the gods of the 100,000 Kingdoms, who are bound to servitude to the royal family. Of course, the gods don't enjoy being in servitude, and they hate the royal's guts, and they have their own agenda, something to do with Yenna herself, and she's just trying to figure out everything that's going on. The world building in this one is really amazing, and there are a lot of elements to it that felt really fresh and innovative, and like something that I haven't read in like 10 other books before. Another favorite that felt like a really refreshing change from kind of the traditional epic fantasy where you feel like you've read it several times before was Throne of the Crescent Moon by Saladin Ahmed. Now this story is about Dr. Adula Marslood, who is an aging ghoul hunter who just wants to retire already because he wants to stay home and drink cardamom tea and propose to his girlfriend. But he can't do that because there are ghouls everywhere, and he has to go and kick their asses with magics, or the world will be in a great deal of trouble. There are a lot more really cool characters in this book, and there are some really good interactions between everybody. Even just talking about Throne of the Crescent Moon now, I remember the fondness that I had for it when I was reading it. I remember how fun it was and how much I just rooted for those characters, how much I enjoyed their humanity, how well that translated on the page. And really, I think this is something that's due in a big part to the fact that it is a fairly traditional, like, epic fantasy story, but it's set somewhere that doesn't feel traditional for the genre because it's set in a city that is clearly inspired by the Arabic tradition more than the Western European tradition. My final favorite is a YA fantasy series that I read and absolutely loved a couple years ago, but I've not heard it mentioned on BookTube before, so here goes. It is Frontier Magic by Patricia C. Reedy. Now the books are 13th Child, Across the Great Barrier, and The Far West. The books are about F. She is born the 13th child in her family, and her twin brother Lan is born the 7th son of a 7th son. So she grows up her entire childhood hearing how her brother is going to have such a great magical talent, but she's cursed and she's cursing everybody around her. Her parents have had enough of everybody around them telling their daughter she's cursed. So they move to the Wild West, where F's dad is going to teach at a college of magic on the frontier, and there is a lot of discussion of the magic and how it works and the different systems of magic that come from different parts of the universe, and of course the wild, dangerous beasts that live across the frontier in the Wild West. And one of the things I love best about the series is that F, as she grows up, starts to study all these magical creatures and wants to go out on expeditions, and there is this beautiful crossing of science and academia and magic where F gets herself a position with one of the researchers at the university, and they go on this research trip in the Wild West. It's got this slight Little House feel because it's obviously a frontier story, but at the same time there is the magic, and the writing was delightful and the characters were great. It just made me really happy. So that's it. Those were some of my favorite fantasy novels and series. Let me know if you've read any of them in the comments below, and please do feel free to gush about your own fantasy favorites, and let me know if there's anything you think I would love based on what I talked about in the video. If you'd like to see more from me, check out the sidebar right here for more videos, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button for new videos from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.